All right, welcome everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing $1,000 monthly checks for everyone, otherwise known as Universal Basic Income or UBI. I have all the details and exactly what you need to know right here in the video. Let's get into it and discuss what's going on. First off, thank you so much for liking and sharing this video with those buttons right down below. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe to the channel as well with the big subscribe button right down below the video. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate all of you. And let's get into it and talk about it. All right. So if you've been watching the videos here on the channel for a while now, or if you've been paying attention to any of the headlines or what is going on all across the country, over the last 3 to 4 years, we've seen a bunch of different GBI, Guaranteed Basic Income programs, popping up all across the country. In fact, as of right now, there's over 150 of these programs currently in place. Now, I just said GBI, but I thought we were talking about UBI. You're right, we are talking about UBI. Now, there's two different types of programs. They're both very, very similar, but at the same time, they're a little different. There's Guaranteed Basic Income, GBI, and Universal Basic Income, UBI. Now, the quick differences between these two, GBI focuses on a very specified group of people, all of which are low income, and that's who would be eligible for them within a certain area, whereas UBI is literally an ongoing monthly check for everybody regardless of income. Okay, so as of right now, there's over 150 GBI programs all across the country, and as of right now, there are exactly 0 UBI programs in the United States. However, quick side note, just to throw this out there really fast here, there is one state that will be voting on a Universal Basic Income program within the borders of that state, the state of Oregon. A little bit later, every resident would be getting a $750 check in that state. So, just again, that's not what I'm talking about here in this video. So I want to throw that out there really quickly as a quick reference point to talk about, okay? That'd be the first of its kind in this country, the very first UBI program in the United States. So anyway, they'll be voting on that a little bit later this year. So anyway, just want to throw that there really quickly. Now, I want to bring this to your attention because there's been a ton of talk about implementing a guaranteed basic income on a national level, a universal basic income on a national level, a universal high income, again, on a national level. There's a bunch of other different iterations of this, but basically there's a bunch of high-profile people coming out suggesting we've got to implement, and even lawmakers as well. There's a handful of lawmakers suggesting we need to implement some type of guaranteed income or a monthly check or something like this, because it's only a matter of time until this is going to be very, very influential, and this will need to get done. So you've probably heard me talk about that before in other videos. Now, as of right now, to be 100% fair, no. There's nothing like this right now on the national level, but there is discussion to implement that and get that, basically the framework, and basically get all the structure of that kind of in place so that it's ready to roll out when we really, really need it. And I think a lot of people would say right now, we need it. I don't know what you're waiting for. We need that like right away, right now, today, right? I know a lot of people would probably say that, but they want to get that structure in place to kind of have that in place when we actually need it, basically more seriously than we do now. But anyway, I was just reading more information about this, and again, I want to discuss what it would actually cost on a national level to send out a $1,000 monthly universal basic income payment to every single person across the entire country right now. Okay, now again. I want to make this very clear. Right now, obviously, this has not been something that's going out as of right now. But I just want to give this all in context. Now, like I said before, if you've been watching the videos here on the channel, you probably know where I stand with this. Universal basic income, I don't really think that that's feasible. I think it would lead to a lot more problems than the actual help that it would provide to the people getting the money. However, guaranteed basic income program, now that's a totally different story, because that would be specifically focused on the low income, people that are low income as they defined by the program, okay? Now, there are some programs out there that define low income as $75,000 a year or less as an individual, or $150,000 a year or less as a married couple. In my opinion, that's a very, very, very high low income, okay? That's not low income in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Who cares what my opinion is, right? I would identify something more around the $40,000 range, maybe 50 tops, but that'd be about it, okay? That'd be my kind of definition of low income. Would probably be below about 40 grand a year. So anyway, we can talk about all that later in a separate video or, just whatever. But anyway, so let me talk about this. So as of right now, the United States has a population of about 334 million people. Now, obviously, that's changing all the time, but roughly, give or take a little bit, about 334 million people in the United States, okay? Now, if they were to implement a $1,000 ongoing monthly universal basic income check for every single person, every single month for 1 year's time, how much do you think that would cost? Just throw out a number. What do you think? Okay, I'll tell you here in just a second. Well, obviously, if it's an even $1,000 and there's 334 million people, it'd be $334 billion a month, okay? $334 billion a month is what that would cost, which, by the way, let me put this into perspective really quickly here. Remember the $1,400 stimulus check that we got in 2021? Remember that one? That went out to 85% of the population. It was $1,400. Guess how much it cost? About $350 billion, okay? That one payment alone cost, it was actually a little bit over $350 billion, okay? That's a ton of money, okay? That's just one check. But anyway, so the 334 million people getting $1,000 a month, again, $334 billion a month is what it would cost. And over the course of 1 year, it'd be $4.8 trillion that'd be spent on a universal basic income program. Now, in my opinion, that's a ton of money, okay? That is a ton, nearly $5 trillion that'd be going out basically just in the form of ongoing monthly payments. Now, don't get me wrong. I think a guaranteed basic income program, highly specified on the national level for people who are low income, fixed income, again, under about 40 grand a year, would probably make a lot of sense. The number of people that would actually get that would be probably somewhere around 80 to maybe 100 million people. It'd be about a third or less of our population. It'd be about a quarter to a third of the population in the United States, somewhere around that range, okay? That's a lot more feasible. Now, what would that actually cost? Well, let's just use round numbers, okay? For easy math, reason being is I'm going to run the math in my head as I talk. So I need to have some easy math here. Otherwise, I'm going to get all confused and jacked up and I won't be able to tell you numbers, okay? But let's just say it's 100 million people that would be identified as, a guaranteed basic income program for $1,000 a month. That'd be $100 billion a month or $1.2 trillion over the course of the entire year. Don't get me wrong, that's still a lot of money, okay? A 1.2 trillion would still be about, what is that? About $350 billion more than what they sent out with the 3 stimulus checks that we received back in 2020 and early 2021. The 3 that went out there cost about $850 billion, okay? So 1.2 trillion would be about $350 billion more than that, okay? But here's the thing. This money would be sent out to the people that are low income and fixed income who actually need the money, and that money would be spent on necessities. Now, the other side of the argument would be, well, this would cause massive inflation. I kind of agree. It would cause some inflation. It would not be completely uninflationary, right? Not even sure if that's a word. Uninflationary? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a word. I'm not an English major. I barely, I struggle to speak English a lot of the time. So I'm just saying, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to say it and pretend like it's a word, okay? So it would definitely have some inflationary impacts on the economy. Simply being is, yes, it would be a lot of money. It'd be going out to about a quarter or a third of our population at most. But it's still $1.2 trillion that's being plowed into the economy to be used for buying of goods and services, things like that. So that's kind of the situation here. But if we could really fine tune this and we could really narrow this down to say like, 50 million people, 60 million, maybe 70 million people, find a very highly specified group of people, the lowest of the low income, the fixed income beneficiaries, seniors, people like this who have a very low income, who don't really have other resources, who don't have other income sources, and these types of people, if we could really narrow that down to say between 50 and 70 million people, and they, again, maybe like $1,000 a month, something like that, and maybe like $50 to $70 billion a month, and maybe anywhere between 600 and what's the math on that? 840 billion a year. You know what I mean? So again, that's still kind of pushing it, but like $600 billion a year, if highly specified going out to say 50 million people, that would not be all that bad, okay? Because it would be spread out across the entire country with a lot of different people. The inflationary impacts of that would actually not be as severe as a lot of people would actually think it would be. But sending out $1,000 a month to every single person of the entire country, which is $4.8 trillion, that would jack up inflation like nuts. It would be absolutely nuts. We'd all be stampeding all of our local Walmarts, all of our local Targets, stampede every day, run to the aisles and grab everything you possibly can because it'd all be stoled out every single day, right? So it'd be nuts. It would not be a good situation. So this whole idea of universal basic income, although it's interesting, in my opinion, would be a terrible idea. But guaranteed basic income on a much smaller scale, highly focused on the people that actually need it, I'm saying that's probably not such a bad thing at all. That'd probably be very, very helpful, not only for the people that get the money, but it'd also be helpful for the economy. It'd be helpful for local retail. I mean, think about it. Retailers would get that money in exchange for their goods and services. Like, everybody would win on that, and it wouldn't have that much inflationary impact. A little tiny bit, but not that much at all, right? Does that kind of make sense? So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that really quickly. I've been reading a bunch about this lately and thought, this is actually a pretty interesting topic, and kind of wanted to come back and talk about this because this is something that is happening. I mean, there's guaranteed basic income programs all across the country. They're everywhere. They're very, very popular, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, and I'm going to say it again really quickly. I fully, 100% anticipate there to be a guaranteed basic income program on the national level at some point. When? I don't know. This year? I don't know about that. In the next 5 years, I would say I would be shocked if there's not. Okay, that's just my opinion because of all the things that are advancing and basically the elimination of basically human jobs and being replaced by a bunch of other things. They have to do this. If they don't, it's going to be an ugly picture, right? So anyway. All right, so I'd love to hear your feedback down below, your comments, your questions, concerns. Otherwise, please like the video, share the video with your friends on social media, again, with the share button down below. Subscribe to the channel with the subscribe button down below. Check out the other videos here on the channel, including the thousands in the video library, the ones I've hand-selected for you down below in the description or the top of the comment section. And right now, popping up on your screen as well, you'll see some videos there. Again, thanks so much. Enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later.